Hey guys, welcome back to my channel and thank you so much for being here. Today I'm going to be doing a makeup try on haul because I picked up some stuff from Ulta and mainly Sephora. I did get a couple of things from Ulta, but I got quite a few from Sephora that I've been wanting to try. I wanted to treat myself before my birthday, which already passed. It was at the end of July, but I'm just now getting around to trying a lot of this stuff. So let's start with primer, which is not super new to my collection, but it is the newest primer that I purchased recently, the e.l.f. Liquid Poreless Putty Primer, which I did feature in my full face of e.l.f. cosmetics video, which should be going up before this video. This primer has been working super well with all of the foundations that I've tried with it. I wouldn't say it's completely replaced the original putty primer for me, but it's really close to that. If anything, it's just a nice lighter weight alternative. And going in with my green color corrector, also from e.l.f. and blending that out with my e.l.f. Camo sponge. I was going to use this new Maybelline skin tint on its own today, but I'm going to have to mix it with a tiny bit of another skin tint because this shade is just a little bit too light for me. This is the Super Stay 24-hour skin tint with vitamin C, and I did try this the other day on its own and it got super glowy. I wasn't a huge fan of the way that it wore, but I do want to try it mixed with the L'Oreal one. This is the True Match Nude Hyaluronic Tinted Serum in the shade 2 to 3 Light. And this one is just a little bit deeper than the Maybelline one, which is in the shade 118. I want to see how these mix together and how they perform. They're very similar, but they are a little bit different as well. The Maybelline one is a little bit thinner, a little more liquidy, and it also seems to have more glow to it than the L'Oreal one. This one is thicker, and in terms of coverage, I'm not sure yet. I'm gonna have to test them maybe side by side to really see if there's any difference in coverage. So the lighter one is from Maybelline, and as you can see, it's a little bit runnier, and the L'Oreal one is thicker. So I'm gonna go ahead and mix those, and let's see what kind of shade we got. Okay, I think that's pretty good. I am gonna blend it out with my brush first, just to get a little bit more coverage. The other night when I wore the Maybelline one, it ended up looking really greasy by the end of the night, and it did break apart around the sides of my nose. It just didn't look that good. The L'Oreal one seems to wear a lot better. So far, I'm loving this combo. I think because the Maybelline one is a little bit more moisturizing, it balances out with the natural finish of the L'Oreal one. They both have a glow to them, but I would say the L'Oreal one is just a little bit more on the natural finish side. I'm getting about medium coverage with both of these mixed together. So now just taking my sponge and tapping over everything. I did pick up the new Natasha Denona Hy-Glam concealer, and so far I've been liking it. I wouldn't call it a favorite just yet, but I do like the coverage. It blends really nicely and it wore pretty well. I haven't worn it for more than maybe 4 hours, so I'm gonna have to try it longer than that and see how it wears. But I picked up a shade that was maybe a little bit too light. This is a very brightening shade. This is in the shade YP3. So maybe the shade Y4 would have been perfect for me, but I can make it work. I don't think I'll pick up a newer shade yet, unless I find out that I really like this concealer. It's a very yellow shade, but it seems to work for me fine. I wouldn't call this a favorite yet because I have noticed a little bit of creasing, and I know almost every concealer will end up creasing one way or another, but I have other ones that don't crease quite as easily as this one. So I'm still kind of testing it, but so far I do like it. Maybe I'll try mixing it with another concealer. Maybe the one from e.l.f., the Hydrating Camo Concealer, which is a little too deep for me. I'm gonna have to try that one of these days. I feel like they would pair nicely for some reason. I am really liking the way that this concealer is looking today. It looks nice and smooth, not cakey, and besides a little bit of creasing that I get from this, I do really like the finish of it. I did pick up the Give Beauty Pick It Up Cream Contour and Powder Bronzer Duo, and I also got a couple more things from Give Beauty. I got the Check My Glow Multi-Dimensional Illuminating Highlighter and the Feelin Cheeky Amplifying Blush Duo. So I'm gonna be trying these a little bit later on. And I also got one of the lipsticks, the Original Me High Performance Matte Lipstick. So I'm excited to try all of this Give Beauty makeup. I just really like this packaging. So here is the Cream Contour and Powder Bronzer Duo, and I love the pattern on here. Super pretty packaging. Now, my only complaint with this so far, and I did try this the other day, but this is so highly fragranced, and I wasn't expecting that. I didn't see that in the description of this product on the Sephora website. Like, I could smell it once it was applied to my face, and I kept smelling it for quite a few minutes, so that's the only thing I would say that I don't like about this product, but everything else I'm loving. I love the packaging. I love the way that this cream bronzer blends, and I really like the powder bronzer as well. I feel like these complement each other super nicely, but I just wish that it weren't so heavily fragranced. And I also wish the actual product was a little bit bigger. It's kind of hard to get my brush in there, but even then, that's not like the worst thing about this product. It's really just the scent. So I'm gonna pick this up on my e.l.f. Complexion Duo brush. It is a pretty warm toned bronzer shade, but it just blends so nicely. I don't even know how to describe this scent, by the way, but it's really strong, very sweet, and yeah, it lingers a little too much for me. But I'm gonna keep using it because I do like the actual product. I think I can handle the fragrance. I'll come back to the powder bronzer once I set my face, but I'm gonna go ahead and set my under eyes with the e.l.f. Prime and Stay Finishing Powder, and I'm just gonna take that on a small brush. I'm gonna set the rest of my face with my Huda Beauty Easy Bake Setting Powder in the shade Pound Cake, and this is a heavy duty setting powder, very mattifying, and I wanted to use it because the tinted serums are a little bit more on the hydrating side, so I feel like I really need to set my face. So just applying that mainly to the center of my face, but pretty much everywhere. Okay, now I'm gonna go in with the powder bronzer, and I'm gonna take my Real Techniques Multitask Face Brush. But I also really like this powder bronzer. It does say that it's talc-free, which isn't a concern for me. I don't mind when powder products have talc in them, but if you're looking for that, this one is a really good one. Very pigmented, actually. I think I went in with a little bit too much, but the good thing is that it blends easily. I'm gonna take my powder brush and just blend over it because I went in a little bit heavy in some areas. Okay, time for blush, and this one I'm really excited to try. This is gonna be a first impressions. So I got this in the shade Stars Aligned. At first, when I had seen this product on the Sephora website, I thought one of them was a cream blush, but apparently these are both powder blushes. I think one is more of a satin finish and the other one is matte. So let's go in with the bottom one first, which is more of a matte finish. Just a little bit powdery when I dipped my brush into that. So I'm guessing this is gonna be a more pigmented blush. So I'm gonna try to be careful. Ooh, very pretty. I'm loving this shade. It leans a little bit peachy. Yes, super pretty. Let's go in with the shimmer side now. I'm not getting as much kick up from this shade, The other shade did get a little bit messy, so it might not be as pigmented. Okay, never mind, it is still pigmented. It does have a bit of a sheen, but it's not super intense. Yeah, I really like that so far. I do want to try maybe another shade of this, but this packaging is also super cute. I did pick up a couple new items from Rare Beauty. I got one of the All of the Above Weightless eyeshadow sticks in the shade Contentment. And I'm going to save this for another day because I do have a palette that I'm going to be using. I can't wait to try this. This is such pretty packaging. I love all of Rare Beauty's packaging, honestly. They never go wrong, in my opinion, so I can't wait to try this maybe tomorrow. I also picked up the Brow Harmony Precision Pencil in the shade Cool Brown. I should have gotten a slightly deeper shade. It's just a little bit too light for me. I wish this were a little bit deeper. I have used this once so far, and I did like it, but I found it a little bit tricky to work with. It does have a bit of a learning curve because of the shape of the pencil. It is angled and it's a lot thicker than a traditional eyebrow pencil, so I'm still kind of getting to know this product. So I'm gonna do that off camera and I'll be back to do some eyeshadow. Okay, this time the brow pencil was a lot easier for me to use. I think I'm getting used to it. Again, it's just a shade that's a little bit off, but overall I can make it work, especially pairing it with the Boy Brow, which is in the shade Black. The fact that this is a lot deeper kind of balances everything out, so I was able to make it work. And I do really like the Boy Brow, by the way. I like how fluffy it makes my brows look. Pretty pigmented, so I do have to be careful with it, but overall I really like it. So let's move on to eyeshadow next. I did pick up the new Natasha Denona Yucca palette. I think that's how you pronounce it. It is a very green palette. You do get some like purple in there. Well, one shade actually, but overall it is a very, very green palette, which I like green eyeshadow, but I rarely reach for it. So you might be thinking, why did you pick up this palette? But I just wanted to try something new. I also got one of the newer eyeliner shades. This is in the shade Camu. I did finally declutter my Basquiat eyeliner, which is very similar to this shade. That one was super old. I don't even remember when the Urban Decay Basquiat collection came out, but it's been years. It's a very vibrant neon green shade. I used it the other day and it's super creamy and pigmented. I really liked this eyeliner formula. So I'm gonna prime my lids with the Rare Beauty eyeshadow primer. I like to tap it out with my finger first and then go over it with my sponge. I did already try some of these shades the other day and I loved the eyeshadow look that I came up with that day. Very green and a little bit mustardy, so I don't know, it was fun to play with some different tones outside of my comfort zone. So let's start off with this shade, which is called Citrine, and it's like a mustardy green. That's like the best way that I can describe that. So I'm applying that into the crease. That is just such a cool shade. It's green, but because it has a little bit of that mustard undertone to it, it just looks really unique. Next, I'm gonna go in with the shade Acacia. I think that's how you pronounce it. Or is it Acacia? And I'm gonna apply that on the outer corners. Ooh, that actually ends up looking deeper than what I thought. I've noticed with some of these shades that some of them look pretty similar in the palette, but once they're on your eyes, they do look different. And I'm actually noticing that this one looks a little bit patchy on the outer corners. Like especially over here where I applied more. Okay, I think it's blending now. It was starting to look a little bit patchy. Maybe just a tiny bit on this side, but over here looks a little bit better. I'm gonna deepen it up with this shade, which is called Calathea. I'm gonna apply that onto the outer corners. I don't think I'm used to working with these like swampy green shades, so I feel like sometimes it looks a little patchy. I don't know if it's just the way that I apply them or if it's the formula, but the more I blend, the better it looks. So I'm just gonna keep blending. I'm gonna go back in with a tiny bit of citrine. And actually I'm gonna take a clean, fluffy blending brush just to clean up the edges. And just to see what it looks like, I'm gonna pick up the shade Camu Camu. So I'm gonna pick that up with a smaller blending brush and just apply it to the inner portion. That's not really showing up, so I'm just gonna build it up a little bit more. Okay, not super pigmented. You do have to build it up quite a bit for it to show. Yeah, that dark green is looking pretty patchy. I don't know that I can fix that, so I'm just gonna leave it like that. Okay, let's get some shimmers on the lids. I'm gonna layer a couple of them. That's just usually what I do. I love layering shimmer shades. So let's go in with the shade Como Rebi first. I'm gonna apply that with my finger, and I did try this shade the other day and it looked stunning. Super metallic and shimmery. Look at that. That looks gorgeous. I almost don't want to top it with anything else. Maybe I'll just leave it like this actually. And it's kind of covering up the patchiness from that dark green shade. So it's not looking too bad anymore. I'm just going to blend around the edges very lightly. I'm trying not to get too much fallout. I am going to top it with a tiny bit of another shade. So I'm going to take Plantasia and just apply a tiny bit right over top. I don't know that that did much, but it looks pretty. So it did add a little bit more of a foiled finish, so I'm happy with that. And I'm gonna go ahead and finish up the lower lash line really quickly. So I'm gonna take a Seisha and run that along my lower lash line. And then I'm gonna take citrine and use that to blend out a Seisha. And I'm gonna take a tiny bit of that dark green shade and apply it right to the outer corner, bringing it in about halfway and blending again. I'm gonna go ahead and set my face with the Airbrush Flawless Setting Spray from Charlotte Tilbury. This is just a mini, but I am planning on picking up the full size later on, maybe during the next Sephora VIB sale. But this is a really good one. I definitely think it's worth the money. It is a bit of a splurge. For mascara, I'm taking the Tower 28 Make Waves mascara. I got this during the previous Sephora VIB sale, and I have been loving it. I love how it separates my lashes, and it lengthens, it volumizes, it pretty much does everything that I want a mascara to do. I did apply the Natasha Denona eyeliner off camera, and I'm really liking this one so far. I'm loving the shade. I love how creamy it is. Very pigmented. So far so good. And I'm gonna go ahead and apply highlighter next. So this is the Give Beauty Check My Glow Multi-Dimensional Illuminating Highlighter. I love the checkered pattern, but it also has a little bit of that iridescent finish to it. I don't know if you can see it on camera. Yeah, this is definitely my favorite packaging out of all of the cheek products. And yeah, this is pretty pinky, but it also has some gold shades in there, or like champagne. So I'm probably gonna mix all of them and see what it looks like. I'm gonna build it up a little more because it's looking kind of subtle, which isn't a bad thing. I'd rather build up my powder highlighter. Okay, that is really pretty. It doesn't look quite as intense as I expected, but again, not a bad thing. I do like more subtle highlighters nowadays. And then I'm gonna apply some to the inner corners. I think I'm gonna take the gold and the champagne shades. I'm not gonna tap into the pink ones. I am having to build it up quite a bit on the inner corners. Yeah, I don't know that I love that for an inner corner highlight because it's so subtle. It's nice and buildable, so if you like a highlighter that isn't super intense, I think you might like this. It's not glittery, but it does have a really pretty sheen to it, so I'm gonna have to keep trying this out. So far, I'm kind of on the fence with it. Like, it's pretty, but I wouldn't like rave about this or anything. I'm gonna try on this Give Beauty Original Me High Performance Matte Lipstick in the shade Lovable Me. But again, this packaging, I love. This is just so pretty. This is my kind of shade. So I went ahead and lined my lips with the Makeup Forever Artist Color Pencil in the shade Anywhere Caffeine. Now let's try out this lipstick. It kind of smells like those old school MAC lipsticks. Okay, that's actually a lot lighter than what I was expecting. I expected this shade to look a little bit more brown, but it's leaning more like terracotta, which I don't mind. I really like shades like this, but it just looks a little bit different than what I thought it would. Still really pretty though. I do really like this formula. It didn't glide on quite as easily at first, but once I warmed up the product, it went on just fine. It is a matte finish, but very comfortable. So I'm gonna top it with a little bit of gloss. This is the Full On Plumping Lip Cream in the shade Pumpkin Pie Latte. And I think this is part of their fall collection. I've been carrying this lip gloss in my purse the past couple of weeks, and I just can't get enough of it. It's very much fall scented. So I'm gonna apply a little bit to the center. I don't want to apply too much, and then I'll just tap it out with my finger. And this shade in particular, I think is perfect for fall. It's a lighter caramel nude shade. And yeah, the formula is more like cooling on the lips. It's not really like stingy or spicy, so it's not as painful as other plumping lip glosses. It paired really nicely with this lipstick, but I wasn't going for such a warm toned lip shade. Actually, I didn't talk about the birthday gifts that I got from Ulta and Sephora. So from Ulta, I got the Redken Acidic Bonding Concentrate. This is an intensive treatment, so I'm gonna have to try this maybe tonight. I think I might need to wash my hair, so yeah, I might end up trying this today. And then from Sephora, I got the Ilia birthday gift set, and this one comes with a multi-stick. This is in the shade At Last. I don't know that I've ever tried anything from Ilia. I think I had maybe like a sample highlighter one time, like a liquid one, but yeah, this one is really pretty. I can't wait to try this. And then it also came with a mini Limitless Lash Mascara. This one I didn't want to try today because I do have some mascaras that I'm working through, so I'm gonna save this for another day. But yeah, this is a really nice birthday gift set. They had some other ones that I liked, but this one really caught my attention. Those are all of the things that I picked up from Ulta and Sephora. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one. Bye!